Hey there everybody, welcome back to Plat. Today we're doing something a little bit different. This is actually going to be a follow-up guide video to one of the earliest videos I did on Eden, where I did 5 essential beginner tips. This is going to be overall more advanced, just things that you may not have found out naturally through going through the game. And things that I've actually seen people like in my streams are like, I didn't know you could do X. So we're just going to go over those. And really quick before we get into the video, I would love to encourage you, if you like the video, to subscribe. If you're already subscribed, say hi in the comments. And if you've already done both of those, then send me a big fat paycheck because I've earned it. All right, now let's just jump into the video. All right, so for this first tip, it's actually regarding removes. As you can see down here, we have 2 removes, boom, right below the camera there. And removes can be used to get rid of, obviously everyone knows spells, but what a lot of people don't know is that removes could be used to get rid of artifacts. So let's say you're playing Violet, for example, and you're like, I don't like starting every fight poisoned, Aria Violet, even though I would say this is overall a positive because of her weapon. It doesn't matter. Point is, if you wanted to play this and you didn't want this vaccine to be in your kit, guess what? You hold Y, it's gone. You could remove artifacts. Now, why do you want to do this? Sometimes you'll pick an artifact and it'll end up being bad. But sometimes, especially if you're looping, you'll get near the artifact cap, which it is. It's going to be 2 full rows, not rolls. I don't know exactly how many artifacts that is. I'm sure it's like 30 or something like that. But then you can remove things like the heal. Like if you picked up a heal artifact that gives you 250 HP, or things that give you a one-time benefit that aren't ongoing, you could remove it and replace it with artifacts that do have passive bonuses. Also, though, beyond that, you can get rid of packs. We just took a pact and we got 25 gold, and now we take this, and for the next 3 fights we create flames on random tiles during battle. Damn it, that sucks. Hold down remove, it's gone. You get the immediate benefit of the devil pact, and you completely negate the downside. Now do keep in mind, you do need to use a removal, which is 65 money, and they are limited. You can only buy 1 per shop for everyone besides the shopkeeper, so it's not something you're gonna abuse all the time, but it's definitely something I think a lot of players should know and keep in mind when they're going through their run. All right, for tip number 2, this one's actually one that I was surprised at the amount of people that didn't know, and I didn't know it for a long time either. But it involves pets here. We're watching one of my other YouTube videos here. Basically, pets follow behind you, but you can also make them share your same square. If we take a look here, I didn't want to start a run where I went and found a bunch of pets. You see we have 4 pets here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 all following us here, but if you hit the button, the same button you use to remove a spell, so me on my 360 controller that I use, it would be the Y button. Whatever the remove button for you is what it will be. When you hit that button, when you're on this main screen here, you'll be able to take this, see all the guys are following you, and boom, they'll all share your tile, and they won't move away from your tile. So this means you actually get to keep your pets alive, and so this makes pets go from ungodly bad to being pretty powerful artifacts. And because they're all rare for the most part, I think they're legendary, whatever, they're all pretty high rarity. It just makes them really good. Now some of them still aren't going to be very good, but the things that do every time you cast a spell are really good. Dragon, cat, soul gun's like okay, Liger's like okay, and some of them are just like fine, but it means that you keep them alive. Turtle is insane also. All right, so this one's mostly just kind of giving you guys information. I guess that's what these all are, really, essentially. But in case you didn't know what each of the hostages do, it actually will tell you right here if you just Google it, I suppose. But I didn't need that. But if you save hostages, they each give you a benefit. The easiest one is the nurse, right? You can tell when you save the nurse, you get a heal. You heal for 100. When you save the shopkeep, though, or, the merchant, the whatever, artificer, whatever you want to call it, what they do is they give you an artifact at the end of the run. So sometimes you get an artifact, you're not sure why. It might have been because you saved them. And then I thought she, for the longest time, was like a witch, and she gave you a spell option or something, but she doesn't. She isn't like a top hat or something, and maybe it's like one of those bunny girl casino outfits from like Dragon Quest or something. It's kind of hard to tell for me. But if you save her, she's gonna give you money at the end of it. And so that's what the hostages do. There's also evil hostages. We don't talk about them as they are evil. Outside of that, I figured I'd just quickly let you guys know what all the bosses do. Let's go ahead and minimize that, boom. Really quickly, what the bosses do when you save them. How do I abandon a run? Not that I would ever abandon a run. All right, so just really quick. Saffron, when you save Saffron, occasionally she's gonna come in and she's gonna Ragnarok something really, really hard. I think it might even be more damage than normal Ragnarok, but it might just be a guarantee hit of Ragnarok. Very good for saving hostages. A lot of times if there's like a hostage and a bomb behind it, they will just she'll just kill the thing behind it and save the hostage. Reva, this is probably the most well-known one. When you save Reva, she gives you a revive in the run. So next time you take fatal damage, she will come and save you and give you, I think, 250 HP on revive. Not incredible amount of HP, but a revive is a revive nonetheless. And if you use it, it means you needed it in order to win the run. So it's really good. Basically, you never kill Reva. Gunner makes it, okay, I forgot for a second because I don't save Gunner that much. I always kill Gunner. Gunner is when you go to campsites, he will be there waiting for you, and he will give you an additional HP bonus. The campfire drops a bunch of HP, and then Gunner is gonna, you know, flick you some more HP, so it's like an extra health potion. Slicey, what she does is she'll come in occasionally, and she'll just give every enemy, like, fragile. I think she'll hit them for a little bit of damage, and then she'll apply a fragile to everybody, which is, it's one of the weaker ones. It's okay. It could be really good depending on your build. If you're using, like, some sort of, you know, switch bait, Ragnarok, insanely powerful thing, it just free insane damage. Other times you're using like minigun, it just is instantly, you know, evaporated, doesn't really help you. Hazel's probably basically the worst. However, Hazel will come in and she'll summon a turret that gets in your way and does no damage. However, in the hostage situations where there's a big old turret that's gonna fire a big old bullet, or there's the two turrets, you know, shooting side by side, killing two hostages at the same time, she will put down a turret in front of it and it'll just tank the hits. Especially the one that's really big, like the big beam, that'll do a lot of damage. Her turret will just absorb it and guarantee that you save the hostage. So it could be nice for there, but she'll summon it during bosses, and usually you'll just end up blowing it up while trying to attack the boss because it's in your way. So pretty bad overall. Terra, she cracks tiles. You would expect that. Shizo, this one's interesting. This was the hardest one for me to figure out what they actually did. So Shizo will show up at campsites and he'll give you what I thought was money or experience, but what he actually gives you is an artifact. But you don't get it when you leave the campsite. You don't get it until after the next fight, which is kind of weird and unintuitive, so it's hard to connect the dots to that sometimes. I assume something about campfires means you just can't pick up an artifact after it, so they just stack it on to the end of the next fight when you do get an artifact roll. So saving Shizo is very, very nice if you're going to be going to campsites. You tend not to do those as much because you usually can't do campsite and shop in the same run or in the same path, but if you can, and you save Shizo, it is a way to get some free artifacts, and they're usually, you know, pretty decent because the artifacts are decent in this game. Violet, what she does is she drops spell power basically for you, a green thing. I think it's some shield and some spell power. It's like 3 spell power, pretty good overall. One of the better ones to save because something that buffs you is typically going to be better than something that damages the enemies in some way, because you're probably going to be dealing more damage than what the characters that you bring do. I mean, Saffron does a lot of damage, but still, I would rather have the spell power myself. But again, depends on the deck. If you're using spell power deck, it's really good. If you're going to be using big one-shot things, you know, an extra 3 damage a hit isn't nothing. So for the shopkeeper, which is one, honestly, I think I've spared 0 times ever, because when you fight the shopkeeper, you're trying to go for the full genocide ending typically. So to fight her, to spare her to go for neutral or passive is not like weird. It's just, you know, it's not normally what you would do, I suppose. But if you do fight the shopkeeper and you do decide to spare the shopkeeper, occasionally she's gonna show up and throw money. It's like 6 money every few fights or something like that. It's like not terrible, but it's really not that big of a deal. I would just kill the shopkeeper unless you have a bunch of money you didn't get a chance to spend and you want to have a chance to refill it. But then it's not gonna happen that much. But she gives you money every now and then. It's cool. It's fine. Typically, just kill her though, or avoid her altogether because she's gonna wreck you. All right, so this one's short and sweet. I think we've all been there, and this one, I'm not sure how well known it is, honestly, but it's just one of the things that I noticed while playing. Let's say you're going for double whatever, anima, and you really want to get, I don't know, Ring of Fire, but you keep getting all these anima things that aren't relevant, that you don't want. You're like, I don't want Firestorm. This is a terrible example because Firestorm is awesome. But hypothetically, you're in this fantasy world where you really don't want Firestorm, but you want other fire-based spells, or you only want frost spells. Well, that's a better example. What you're able to do is, you're able to like take a spell like this that you don't want, and then you're able to come here and then just remove it. And now that's not going to show up as an option to take anymore, decreasing the pool of anima things that can show up, so you're more likely to get the spells that you do want. Now again, like with my previous tip, this does take removes, and removes are a limited resource. So this is something that's probably used rarely, but it could also be used on artifacts. If you see an artifact that's strictly negative and it keeps showing up, you could take it, remove it, and then you don't have to deal with it anymore. And these are things that are slightly more applicable on the shopkeeper, because you could buy as many removes as you want. Essentially, you don't need to go get one per floor. You can just buy removes. But yeah, being able to buy spells, remove them so they stop showing up as quest rewards is something that should help you get to the spells you want to a little bit faster, and having to rely less on luck. It basically just gives you a little bit of influence on what you're getting, instead of just relying on the booster pack draft system that we would normally deal with. All right, so finally, I'm gonna talk really quickly about a few shopkeeper-specific strategies. This is the final character that people unlock usually, unless they find a cheese strat early and they unlock her early. So this is part of the reason why the shopkeeper is so powerful and easily the most powerful character. But with the ability, like I told you earlier, you can remove artifacts. Probably the most you're gonna be using this is on the shopkeeper, and for this exact reason right here. So the shopkeeper starts with an artifact that makes your maximum HP equal to your current money. And so as you spend money, you lose HP. As you gain money, you gain HP. When you get hit, you drop, money, so you drop permanent HP, but you can pick it back up, yada yada. But if you wait till you have, I don't know, let's say 1,500 money and 1,500 HP, if you come over here and you hit the barrette and you remove this, drop money when you take damage, max HP equals to your money, you remove that, boom, it's gone. And now your max HP stays the same. And now you're free to spend this whole stack of cash. So basically she has the highest HP of any character in the game. And then when you start spending money, and she is her own shop, right? So obviously it's not a trick to say everything in the shop is free, but knowing that, so you build up a large stack of money, you remove it, and then your HP is insanely high, giving you free reign to use all this money on her infinite shop, basically. So one more thing about the shopkeeper, you could buy infinite removes, which is nice. You don't have to do anything special about that. But also, any artifacts such as Lilac or Lily that affect your maximum HP will not affect your maximum HP as long as you still have the beret as an artifact equipped. What it does do is it sets your current HP, like so if you're at max HP is 1,000 and you're currently at 1,000 HP, so you're at full health. If you take this, it'll keep your maximum HP at 1,000, but it'll bring you down to 700 HP. So it'll deal 300 damage to you. But it doesn't deal 300 damage if you're at, let's say you're at 750 and your cap is still 1,000, so you're missing 250 HP, and you take this, it'll still bring you down to 700. So if your HP is above 300 of your max, it'll bring you down to 300 of your max. But if you're at 400 HP and you have 1,000 max, you just take this, it doesn't deal any damage to you. It doesn't take your max HP, and these are very powerful effects. So things that affect your maximum HP positively or negatively do not affect your character, including things that are consumed, gain 5 max HP, won't do anything. It'll just be consumed while you had the beret. They will go into normal effect after the fact, after you remove it. But mostly for these things, keep your eye open, because it'll damage you 300 points if you're fully healed, but they're still very powerful, and usually taking a little bit of damage is totally worth picking up multiple free upgraders, multiple free mana regen. 0.3 mana regen is huge. And other things that do that. Anyway, guys, that's gonna be it for today. Just some couple tips to get you guys, hopefully you learned something. If you did, let me know, leave a comment, hopefully you subscribe. I'm thinking about doing a series where I kind of go through how to defeat each boss individually, or how to build each loadout specifically, kind of like a character specific. Maybe I would do character specific instead of loadout specific, to give it make the videos a little bit longer, a little more in depth, and not having to do 18 of them, only having to do half that. So yeah, let me know how you guys felt about it, and let me know what you would like to see in terms of guide videos in the future. And the Purplatypus is Purplatypus. See you guys next time.